Hey guys, how's it going? It's Kai here with another Raid Shadow Legends video, and in today's video we're going to be breaking down the champion Venus. Going to go through her masteries, gear choices, also going to take her through the dungeons, then lastly show a run of Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss. Alright, before we begin, if you'd like to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel, like the video. So if you have any more questions, feel free to ask them down below. Also, you could join the Discord server. More than happy to answer them there. And with that, let's get into it. Yeah, she's good everywhere. Literally good everywhere. Maybe not the absolute best at certain things, but she's borderline one of the most versatile top tier champions in the game. That the second you get her, she's probably going to slot into almost every single phase of the game for you. It's crazy. It's crazy just how good she is. Before I pulled her, I knew she was good. Her kit just screams being a very good character. Actually getting to use her, she's exceeded those expectations. So let's break down her kit, show exactly why she's so good. A1, which is attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns. So she's one of the best poisoners off the bat with that A1. She's up there with a lot of the other good poisoners in the game. Poisons on A1. She hits 2 times. So that means she's going to be good with War Master. So not only so she has a multi-hit, but then she has a high percentage at 50% to be able to place those poisons. Great opener for her A1. Good start. So let's see the rest of her kit. Her A2. This combined with her A1 is what makes her so good. Is going to be her A2 here, which is attacks all enemies, has a 100% chance when booked of placing a 60% decreased defense and a 25% weakened debuff for 2 turns. So this is one of the most rare skills in the game, and then also one of the most sought after, being able to combine not only a defense down, but the weaken on top of it. Then the key thing too is that it's on a 3-turn cooldown. So that's going to help a lot with Clan Boss. It's going to be able to make it to where you can consistently rely on this on the 2 phases that you're going to be trying to do the most damage, which is rounds 1 and 2. So you'd want to start the round with that. It's really good for wave clear and dungeons. It's essentially one of the best it's the best debuff for damage that you could apply in the game. And the fact that it's on AoE, she's void, which is great. So that means that you're never going to have to worry about hitting weak, which is really cool. It's just a great move. It's just, it doesn't really hit that hard. There has to be some drawback to this move, but it's essentially one of the best moves of the game. Well, her Dracomorph for the 2 that are also poisoners that have that combined. I believe there's only one more person that has an AoE version of it. And I think that is Bellinor here. Let me make sure if he's AoE. On 1 enemy. Okay, so he's a 1 enemy. I believe those are the only 2 AoE characters that have it. It's Dracomorph and her. There is Rosin and Bellinor that can place it on at least 1 target, so they're good in Clan Boss. But the cool thing about Venus and Dracomorph is that you can take them to dungeons as well and be able to use that move like Spider, for example. That's why you see a lot of speed runs with Dracomorph. You see a lot of speed runs as Venus. Venus is a little bit more rare of a character because she's a Void Legendary versus Dracomorph, but and also Dracomorph hits harder. So I bet if people had the choice between the 2, depending on the circumstance, most of the time they're going to choose Draco. But she's right there with him. Very similar kits between the 2. And then her A3 here, this is where she starts to differ from Draco, is going to be here. It's her HP. She has an AoE HP burn. So attacks all enemies has a 75% chance when booked of placing an HP burn debuff for 2 turns. So this is really cool too for Spider. So she's great as Spider. She applies the defense down and the weaken. So if you have a max HP characters, you can help with that. Also, if you don't have enough damage to be able to one-shot the Spider, this is a really good insurance policy to be able to clear out the rest of the Spider 20 with AoE HP burn. So great move. Also, another cool thing about it is just like her A2, where she's void, so you don't have to worry about weak hits. All you got to worry about is having enough accuracy. Then, lastly, she has this pure partner. If you have Cupidus, Cupidus is not the best character in the game, but I mean he's solid. He's a good single target damage dealer. And then she gets an amazing move with the pairing, which is removes all buffs from all enemies, has a 50% chance of granting an extra turn. So very cool move. Only works with Cupidus, very rare situation. It would only really work if you're, there's not too many pairings with that. In Arena, maybe she strips buffs if you have the combo, and then he's your damage. But a very rare move. Maybe Faction Wars would be pretty good. But that's about it. Also, you got to pull 2 legendaries, so very rarely is this ever going to get used. And then lastly, she has a 33% HP aura in all battles, which is it's something. It's not nothing to write home about, but it's not bad or anything. Let's talk about gearing Venus. It's types of stats you're looking for as Venus are going to apply with all phases of the game, wherever you're running her at currently. And like most people, if you pull Venus, you're probably going to want her in your clan boss team. So that's where I have her, is geared her specifically for clan boss, and then apply that gear set, and I just use that for whatever I'm trying to do. The only changes I make, currently I'm running a speed tuned comp with counterattack. Normally I have her a little slower with more defense. These are the boots I put on. So here's the stats you can expect when I'm doing clan boss. But when I'm trying to do dungeons like spider, dragon, pretty much I use her everywhere. So in any other phase of the game, I'm going to put these speed boots on to make her faster than all those characters, because I want her to go first, apply the debuffs, then everyone goes and follows up afterwards. I just switched the two. And then she still goes first when I have her in these boots here, but in a speed dude team, everyone's slower. That's why I do that. Ideally, I wouldn't have to switch, but it's just kind of a bummer thing about being in a speed tune comp. Okay. And then the stats you're really looking for when it comes to Venus are going to be accuracy and defense, and then the right amount of speed, depending on however you're running the comp for clan boss. And then you could, ideally, you would have, as much crit rate as possible, as much crit damage as possible. I just think if you have the gear, if you're trying to prioritize between a character that you want to do that with, I don't think Venus is really the person to do it. She doesn't have these massive attack modifiers. She doesn't really hit that hard. I would recommend just trying to get her to apply the poisons, apply your defense set and weaken, and then move on to other characters and make those characters hit harder if they have better modifiers. So now that we've gone over gear, let's talk about masteries really quick. And currently, the main thing that's not going to change is going to be her offense set here. It's just this tree, very standard War Master style build, especially for clan boss. You got the increased damage to targets higher. You increase damage when you have full health, increase damage when they have more health than you. You got, her methodical, a very, very standard build. Where it changes and where I would recommend you mostly should go is go for sniper and go for master hexer. This is currently I have her mastered unkillable style build with rush card and with skull crusher. So I have her masteries in that fashion. Going to be replacing Dracomore with her. Shout out to Murder Inc. He's the one that did that team. I'm going to be giving that a shot. So that's why the masteries are currently in this fashion here. But normally you'd probably want sniper and master hexer. And then if you're doing a speed tune, obviously dodge, having the turn meter increase when a debuff expires, so then you can make sure you stay in line with the rest of your team. So now that we got the masteries, we did the gear, we got the masteries, let's go through some dungeons. First thing I'm going to do is dragon. Okay, so this is the current team I'm running for dragon. I'm going to be using her in combination with Rogard. Like the cool, you're going to see in this video, she's great on the waves for being able to make them take more damage with this move here. On a 3-turn cooldown, it's going to be really nice for dungeons to be able to constantly reapply it being such a quick cooldown. The 3-turn cooldowns are like the sweet spot, in my opinion, for really good moves. So I like to look out for moves like that because I know I can rely on them and they can keep being used over and over. And then for dragon, being able to apply poisons is awesome. It does a lot of damage, as you'll see here. So only 2 poisons. Each one of them tick down for 46. Very similar to the amount of damage that's going to happen on clan boss. So then I really like her in lifesteal gear for this. Helps her stay alive. But as you can see here, she can just essentially solo the team if everyone dies. If you get bad RNG, however you have your team set up, she'll just solo the dragon for you. Does a ton of damage to him. And helps everyone else do a lot. So great character for dragon. She really started to shine for me was her in spider. So before in spider, I had a pretty slow team, but what she's able to do is push over the royal guards to be able to essentially one-shot the spider significantly quicker, if otherwise. Without the combination of weaken with defense down, the 25% really adds up, especially when you're combining with a max HP character here. So you'll see the kind of damage you can put out with this this debuff on here. So really like her for this. And also it is hopefully I'll get to highlight it, but mainly I just wanted to show what she can do because she's combining two really good moves onto one move, and it allows you to free up space in your team for other characters like, like that are going to be able to finish out the spider easier. Whereas before, if I wanted to do this exact kind of setup, I would need multiple characters. I would need to fill out the whole team and you need to have one character that applies defense down, one character that applies weaken. And there's not that many characters that you really could work with. And then you got to speed tune them right. You have to have all 5 of them ready to go. Before, when I was doing this, I was really wanting Arbiter to make sure I had enough speed to go twice before the spider could go. And I think a lot of people would be in that same position. So having that extra spot was almost like I couldn't do it. Like, even though I knew what I needed to do, which was have a defense down, have a weaken on the spider, and then my royal guards can maybe kill her in time. But being able to do that logistically with all the gear being right and still having enough damage and enough speed was really tough. The second I slotted in Venus, it made it so much easier because you lose a whole champion you have to worry about, which is fantastic. And then also a really cool thing too is if it fails, like let's say she doesn't apply defense down or she doesn't apply weaken and I don't have enough damage to kill the spider in like a speedrun style, she has that AoE HP burn that will come down and then usually for me clean up the boss. And so I don't have to worry about, even when she fails, I know she has like almost a 300 accuracy, it still fails a decent amount of time. Her kit with the AoE HP burn allows her to be able to clean up the spiderlings and finish out the boss that way. So great character for Spider, one of the best in the game. Here, this is my first time trying her in Ice Golem since the changes to the AI. Before I was using Madame Ceres because I liked her more because when it came to Venus, she would do her AoE on the 2 first mobs, but she would not do it to the actual Ice Golem. Like she would just wait until you killed both sides and then she would do it. Whereas Madame Ceres would do it because it's not applying damage. And that's how the AIs were coded. So Madame Ceres was actually, I liked her a lot more for this. And to be honest, I still like Madame Ceres more for this because the attack down is really nice for this boss. You're going to be hit by the boss with his massive AoE. It still does a lot of damage, because it's ignoring defense some of the time. So it's a really nice insurance policy to have Madame Ceres over Venus. This is probably one of the few areas, this and Arena are the 2 areas where I think Madame Ceres is better. In most situations, there are trade-offs, especially in Arena, but this one for sure, I think Madame Ceres is the better character, but she still is very good. You do get the extra bonus of more damage. Also, I'm going to show a little cheese. I've done this in other videos. I want to see if the AI still works, or what we're going to do is we're going to look for what royal guards. Normally you might kill yourself if you have royal guards, and on the boss, what happens is if he does his AoE, he's going to proc the thing to make them slam and kill your team. But if you target here and he does the slam on one of these guys, it doesn't proc his AoE. I want to see if that's still in effect going on after the changes. So she used to never do that, which is fantastic. And then see how he didn't do his auto, he didn't do his move, even though he should have. And so that's one of the cool things I like about Royal Guards for this. It definitely speeds up the runs. All right, another thing is definitely Arena. I think she's a pretty decent Arena champion. I would just say nowadays, based on how the meta is going with a lot of block debuffs buffs, and this is another area where Madame Ceres is just completely better character. It is kind of nice to have the additional damage that you get with the weekend on top of that, but I prefer to have the extra utility of being able to remove buffs. So like when you look at the comps here with that as well with Madame Ceres, is the attack down is actually really clutch when it comes to dealing with Rhodoses. If you can't stop them from going or you can't really control them, having that attack down debuff could potentially save you. Normally you just don't even want them to get a turn if you're going to want a chance to beat them. But when it comes to Arena, that's not always the case. So that's another knock against Venus, in my opinion. I think she's great, especially compared to Ceres if you're just trying to speed farm gold 4. In that case, she actually does her defense down ability on auto. So I really liked her for that. When I'm just farming metals, I prefer her all day versus Madame Ceres, because Madame Ceres needs to go first for her to apply her defense down and trying to farm. So, or when you're trying to do it on auto, I mean. So like that's kind of the difference there. But she's obviously better than a lot of characters when it comes to that role of defense down character, applying debuffs and then having your damage dealer clean up. I would say overall, she's definitely good, fulfills that role. She does have some synergy with Tormund with the HP. Me personally, I've never really got it to work too much. I think maybe a few or weeks/months ago when Rhodos wasn't a thing, I would say that could have been an effective strategy that I didn't really try too much. Don't see the success of it as much as it used to be. These new characters with Sifi, Rhodos coming out, I've had more success adding provokes, so stuff like that. So using Ceres for buff cleansing, really need that buff cleanse. So I think she's good. She's definitely good for arena, especially in the top end. That's why I've stopped using her up here because of that. Just because there's better options. It's really hard to apply debuffs unless you're just significantly overgearing those people. But that's pretty much it when it comes to arena with her. All right, here's the comp we're gonna be running. Gonna highlight Venus. Pretty much the main competition with her is gonna be Dracomorph. Another character that's in running with her is Razin, because they both have that defense and a weekend. All three of them do, but reason why Dracomorph and her is that those are really the only two characters in the game that have defense and a weekend on one move, and then also provide poisons. When it comes to clan boss, I think Dracomorph hits way harder. See him in the top teams in the game. It's usually always a Dracomorph. I think just his base moves, if you took poisons out of the equation, his moves hit far harder. They have way bigger multipliers. Venus's, but she still does decent damage. She competes with the Cold Brawler here. This is not the most optimal team. There's definitely better characters I could be putting in here. This is the best I got currently. Big character I've been wanting is Altan, but that's beside the point. Let's see how she does. The thing I have noticed about her when it comes to her damage through poisons is there's a lot of variance when it comes to applying them. I've seen her massive, like a couple million to 3 million swings. So high variance with her damage. A Cold Brawler seems to be pretty significantly more consistent. So I've noticed that, but let's get into it. Set up. So what I do is, since I'm going slower than the boss. Like I'm going slower than the boss on when he has max turn meter. So that's why he took a turn before me, but we'll still be able to keep up. We'll be able to keep up with his pace with the speed lineup. Currently it's like, 180 speed all the way down to 171 is the slowest one I got with Grizzled Jarl here. So apply poison here. Let's get the setup going before. And then what we're going to do, we're waiting for the boss to come back around, and then we're going to start applying everything. The one thing that we are going to do, though, is we're going to set up Grizzled Jarl's defense up before the punch. So here's that. We got to save. I like to just do this, get a little extra damage, but she's just going to apply defense and a weaken the next turn. So we're still saving Valk Shield. And then here, this is going to come up. This is how I have it now. Why I want all 10 so bad is that would mean that I don't have defense up for the entire encounter. Whereas there's a key point in this fight on the A2 of the clan boss where I don't have defense up. I just have a defense up, like charged up version of Valk's shield to cover for it, which is not optimal. I think I lose a lot of damage because of that. But that's kind of one of the things about this comp. That's pretty much where I wipe. But here, this is where we're going to set it up. Defense down and weaken, and assuming it doesn't get resisted. And then so even in like the 300 accuracy range, you still can get resisted. It's just something worth noting. And then we're going to set that up, and then now we can put it on auto. Now Grizzled Jarl is a character. If you guys want to see a guide on him, let me know. I think he's a really cool character. Pretty much clan boss only, but pretty interesting. It hits decently hard. And then essentially you'll get to see there's really not much more to it. So you'll really start to see that she doesn't, even when she does crit, so it's like 3K, non-crit, not a very hard hitter. Also another thing when it comes to her is her AI will never do the HP burn while you're on auto. She just won't do it. So hopefully with this, you can get an idea of what to expect. Hopefully with this, you can get an idea of what to expect with her damage-wise, how often she applies her poisons. I'll let it run a little bit longer. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to speed up to the ending of it. You'll see the actual damage amount. You'll see what damage you can expect with her with how I have this set up, and wrap up the video. Okay, so we're getting to the end of it, getting near the wipe. So it's about to be probably going to wipe at the second punch here. Hopefully this was helpful and kind of get an idea of what you can expect with her in Clan Boss. And yep, there it is. Got the Valkyrie surviving. It's pretty typical. And then there it is. So it's about a 3 key right here. As you can see the damage. See that I've seen this widely change anywhere from 6 to 8. 9 is kind of on the high end, at least for me, but the variance is definitely there when it comes to Venus with her poisons. All right, guys, well, that should do it for me. If there's anything else you would like to see during a review, let me know down in the comments below. If you have any more questions, hit me up on Discord. More than happy to answer questions there. More videos to come here very shortly. If you want to see more, be sure to subscribe. Really helps with the channel. And you guys have a good one. Peace.